Welcome into another episode of the Fantasy Football Lab. Are you sad that fantasy football is over? You don't have to be. This sounds like an infomercial, but we last year did a couple postseason leagues, and we now are going to share with you. We talked about it a little last year, but we're going to share with you this episode about some postseason that you can do. So using the playoff teams that are there and a couple unique formats so that you can have a small group of friends or a very large one, depending on what you can wrangle in the next couple days. We'll also be doing our draft live or posting it right after, but we'll record it for one of the league types that we'll talk about today.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Lab.
All right, so Nate and I have the benefit of playing in Dynasty. If you don't, it does give you something year round, which we love. And if you really want to go year round, Dynasty is my favorite format. But then this is also a really fun, like low risk reward that you get to keep watching fantasy football and not enjoy football in the standard way, which might be one of the drawbacks. How you doing, Nate?
Good, man. Good. Yeah, this is a great opportunity for us to jump in and redeem what may be a failed state of your fantasy season, especially if you were in two championship games and lost them in a sucky kind of way. Gives you the opportunity for one last shot at redemption. Or if you have a little bit of an issue like I do, you can keep chasing, you keep chasing it at the table until you walk away a winner or flat broke. So we're going for it. Yeah. So I love the idea. This idea came about last year. Through some research from Arlen, and we're just jumping into a couple different formats here. Do you want to just jump right into it, Arlen, or how we want to go?
I want to start with this.
Fancy football.
So fancy.
My favorite drop.
Fancy.
So we call this fancy football. Any of these unique league formats to give you something a little different. We have Vampire League that we've done the second year now. The Vampire won this year. We have episodes that you can kind of look at. If you search our page for fancy football, you can see a few different league types and just some unique settings or formats. This is postseason, so that you're using the playoff teams and the players there for fantasy football. So it doesn't have to end. This one, though, the one that we're doing and that we'll post a video of our draft, it's fun. It's a unique and small group. So how we do it is we commission all of our leagues with a few different players, and like there's a commish-dish chat, an iMessage chat we have where we have a few of the different commissioners. And after all that hard work of the year of managing so many leagues, we celebrate with one just for the commissioners. So this one is it's a small, about 4 players. You can increase it by switching up the roster construction a bit, probably. But how we do it is 4, and how we set up and talk about the roster itself. That construction you can customize, but we set it up for 4 people.
Yeah, it's a great way to jump in because the way that it's set up, you're limited on the amount of roster availability you have, amount of players that are available to you to play. So the bigger you get, the tougher it is to run. But it's great, like you said. What better way to end the season that we put in so much hard work commissioning leagues on, managing players, managing other teams, watching other people, than finishing up the year with a league you have to manage through spreadsheets and some calculations.
No, we don't. We did it in a sleeper. So we'll talk about how it's set up, and then we'll talk about how we actually set it up into the sleeper app. It's not exactly how you would regularly. There's no matchups, but how it works is, unlike in standard fantasy football, you're going to draft the entire team with no bench. And so you've got your roster construction. How we have it is 2 quarterbacks, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. And you're picking from those playoff teams. It's almost a mix between bracket creation and regular fantasy football, because to prepare for this, it's a good best practice I found to be able to create as many brackets as possible to really guess who's going to make it further, because your player, when they're out, can't score you any more points.
Yeah, and the key component here that makes it really, really tough is the way that we have it set up is that you can only select one player from each NFL team. So once that team is out, that player is eliminated and will score you no more points during the rest of the playoffs. So you have to really think through, how far is this team going to go, and how valuable of a roster spot do I want to commit to this team?
Yeah. And so if you didn't catch it, that piece was one per team. So if you are, I think last year, a big thing that Nate was happy about was that he ended up drafting Laporta, a pretty good tight end, when you have to start two of them. And especially last year, he was like, one of the guys, right? So Laporta was his tight end, an easy grab, but he could wait until the last pick because people had picked Gibbs, people had picked St. Brown, people had picked I think Goff was one of the other ones. So all the other three teams could not pick a Lion, and he knew it. So he could kind of wait on that tight end position and go grab some other stuff. The big thing here, though, is it's that I learned last year was I was thinking about who's going to get eliminated quickly. And I wasn't thinking about the number one seeds having a bye week that first week. You don't get
Yeah.
any points for those players that are on a bye week, obviously, because they did so well. So some of these teams, I forgot what it was last year, but like the Lions were upset. Commanders went a lot further. You had Jaden Daniels, and that kind of saved you. You thought you might get one game from him. But then I picked, I forgot who from some of the top teams, and the week one, I realize I'm at a disadvantage, and then they get eliminated pretty quick. It puts you in a tough spot. So it's not only who's going to go further, but even like the best team could be eliminated after the first game, and you only get one game, and another team gets eliminated the first game, but they got you those week 1 points anyways.
I do want to do a quick PSA here that, even though Arlen called out the roster construction, how it should go, we want to make sure we include as many people as possible. So there is an option to ensure that you include
I
kickers
knew you
into
were
this
going to do this.
conversation. I mean, I'm just saying, you want to include kickers if you want, especially if you want to play with more than 4 folks. You need to have those extra players anyway, and
Or just one
kickers are
tight
people
end.
too.
That's fine. Yeah. They're soccer players. Okay. How many episodes? I'm going to do a Google search on our videos. How many mention kickers and the overall satisfaction I have with them? I think it's like a 1 star because I have to give one. All right. That's the main one that we're going to be doing. And I think I really like this one a lot. It's probably my favorite of the two. The other one is really great for large groups because you can have an unlimited amount of people for this other player elimination league. Is there anything before we move to that one? Is there anything else you wanted to cover on that previous?
Nothing other than I won the first time we've ever done it. So
Was it you? I was trying to look it up. Was it you?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool.
So I took it last year. But like you said, there was some luck and some strategy involved, knowing how the roster plays out. This year, the number one overall seed thing isn't as big of an issue because it's not a ton of fantasy relevant players coming off of the Broncos,
Yeah.
or the Seahawks, other than JSN.
Yeah. All right. So the second one, the elimination style, it's so the player elimination league, it's unlimited amount of people. How it works is you don't draft, like there's no initial draft. So that's what I like about the other one. It's still fun to do a little draft, right? This is more like almost like a pick 'em style where you pick your roster every single week. But the thing is, once you pick a player, you can't pick them again. So a good strategy here is picking for like the onesie positions. I think it was set up in the league I was in where there's like one quarterback you play every week. So a good strategy, because you don't want to end, especially with that many players, you don't want to end with 0 quarterbacks in the Super Bowl. So you pick quarterbacks from one side. So you just pick NFC or you just pick AFC, and then you leave everybody else blank, and you get to pick the other side if you go all the way through. So that's a good strategy for any of the positions, especially if you have a onesie position like tight end or a quarterback, depending on how it's set up. I think ours was 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, a flex, a kicker, and defense.
Back up. One second.
It's not my league.
A league that included a kicker, the one league where you included a kicker is the one league you didn't invite me to play in. That's what I'm hearing.
I don't want to fuel the fire.
That's okay. All right. See what
Actually, the only 2 leagues I'm in without you have kickers, and that's the only 2 I'm in that I don't run, that I don't commission.
That's hurtful. So many ways.
All right. So the plan for the onesies, yeah, pick one side, or you can risk it, but you're also doing the same thing as the other, where you're doing almost a bracket throughout to prepare for it, because you've got to see really who you believe is going to go further. You know what we should add to the other that we do with it? I bet the guys would be down for it, but we should do like a parlay, a
Mm.
four parlay, or everybody gets to choose one or two or something from somebody that's on their team for that week, and extra couple bucks each that we throw in, and do a quick parlay. All right, roster. We did that. Strategy. It's hard to take advantage. Like the Gibbs got me last year where I was saving him and he was eliminated really quick. So there's a strategy of saving some elite players till the Super Bowl, but there's also such a risk in that where they could just get flat out eliminated. So the other one that we had that we probably didn't mention it, I think, is that it's not matchup, it's total points by the end. So it's not a weekly thing in general. It's just by the end who scored the most total points. I believe this one is as well, where it's just by the end, it's just who scored the most amount of points. So you kind of want to grab them you want to grab them pretty early and get the points. I think that's how I'm going to handle it this year. I was really cautious with too many players, and I just didn't end up getting to use any of them.
Playing too conservatively. That has never been a problem of yours in year-long leagues. I don't know why you play like that in the playoffs.
I was scared. It was new, but it was fun. And so we mentioned when we talked about this last year, we mentioned that the downside of, look, if you want to just watch football and not make up these crazy situations that need to happen for you to be happy, this person catches it but this person doesn't, that, then don't do these. But if you are sickos like us and you just want another crack at it, or both of these leagues I think were only $25, so it wasn't enough for me to skew my thoughts too much, even though the competitive nature does that. I was still able to enjoy it, but it felt like, if you've ever put money on a game and made it like a bet, it felt like that, where it was just you're a little bit more invested. And I'm a Browns fan, so I don't get to watch playoff games with any personal connection usually. So this kind of made it a little bit more fun to watch. And the other piece is, the first one is easy because you draft and you're done and you just watch. You don't have a bench, so there's no setup every week. You don't have to manage anything. And then the other one, there's a little bit, but it's just basically setting your roster once a week. Obviously there's no trades, there's no waiver, because you're just picking who you can. So it doesn't take too much effort for either of them, especially the first one is just the draft. So
Awesome.
how I forgot the platform, quite honestly, that we used for the player. It was an obscure one. You can kind of search online for some postseason formats and probably find the same thing that we used. It's not one I run, so apologies. But the first one we did in Sleeper, so we did a 4-team league. We probably set it up just normal, but you could do best ball. It doesn't matter since you don't have a bench. But we just did a 4-team league, that draft. And then what you had to manage manually is, while you're drafting, you have to know that you can't draft that other player from that team if you've already drafted a player from that team. So there's no
Right.
setting for that. So that's what you have to manage. You have to also be very, very conscious of looking at your roster in that one. I usually don't look at my roster too much in the draft, where it has the build, because I'm best available is usually my approach. But this is important so that you don't accidentally draft 3 tight ends when you only can start 2 and there is no bench, and that takes away an entire other player. So make sure you're watching that. If it's with 4 friends, I'm sure you can go into it. I think we went into it like, oh, that was a mistake, undo it, and move along slowly. I do recommend also, since it's only 4 people, easy to manage, everyone is going to be live. I don't think there really needs to be a timer. It's just pick it as quick as possible, but it might be like this question that you have and you're confused about it, especially the first time, of what positions do I have? Am I actually allowed to pick this player? There's a little extra thought that goes into making sure that the manual parts that you're responsible for are done right. So I would say friendly competition, just put the timer off for something longer. Try to make your picks as fast as possible. It's going to be a fast draft anyways. It's only a few spots and a few players.
Yeah. And it gives you plenty of extra time to give people crap about their picks.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. And mess with them while they're looking through players and talking their ear, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Who do you
So
have
do you
winning
stick a look us?
the Super Bowl?
Would I have winning the Super Bowl? The Chargers, obviously. We're gonna
Okay, and
make it
also who do you have
all the
winning the
way
Super
through.
Bowl?
Okay, so heart head conversation, sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We want to go that route. Sure. Yeah, I will be elated if the Chargers make it past the wild card weekend up against New England in New England
Yeah.
with the O-line state that we have. So I am a Chargers fan through and through, die hard, and at least I get to see my team in the playoffs. But I believe I have the Seahawks this year.
I do too. I was going to make a wager with you, but now I won't. That's
I
who I
mean, if you
have.
give me odds on the Chargers, I mean,
Yeah, I'll give you odds on the Chargers if they do or don't win, or versus the Seahawks.
we'll talk that through because that's something to think about. But yeah, I think they're the right. I think the Seahawks are probably the team that has the best route to get there. And then AFC is so up for grabs right now for who's going to end up there.
This is why years like this is why I like football. The last few years of just almost knowing in the beginning of the season who's going to be in the Super Bowl, the Chiefs, is annoying. That's the whole point of football, is that it keeps it as even as possible. That's why there's strong salary caps. That's why like this any given Sunday thing is within this sport that is so different than other sports, and the limited games compared to other sports also give it this anybody can get there kind of thing, except
Right.
for the Browns. But this year we go back to that and we get to actually see some teams that are everybody's got a problem on their team. There's weaknesses on every single team, and I think it's just not it's gonna be a lot of fun games. I'm really excited, and I'm less confident than any other year on the matchup in the end, because there's a lot of young, like the Patriots. They're young and they're up and coming, but they're going against like the Chargers are great. So any one of them could pull it off, and I don't think that there's been so many great matchups in a playoff in years.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. My daughter was trying to make plans for this Sunday, and I was like, "Hi,
Good for you.
What is? Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
you went
not-
on a
yeah,
cruise
that's
during
not what
the
we do."
championship week. Like, you're good. You paid your dues.
We were watching playoff football. It was happening this weekend.
All right, cool. Well, this has been Fancy Football from the Fantasy Football Lab about postseason leagues, and again, we'll be look out for we'll post something out there. If it's going to be live, we'll do a countdown on our page for it, and you can jump in and see live. All right, cool.
Yeah,
That's been
yeah,
this.
and don't forget, hit a subscribe, check out the follows, throw us a comment. We'll be wrapping up the season soon to wrap up all of our hot takes from this year over the next few weeks. But until then, we'll catch you.